and a music producer with over 25 years of experience in the performing arts. He's been associated with Jaipur Heritage International Festival, the ArtSA, which is the Art Think South Asia, which is an arts management program in South Asia, Complex City, which is an urban festival in the city of Mumbai. He's also been associated with WOMEX, which is the Worldwide Music Expo, which is probably the world's largest music festival. He's also associated with Prithvi Theatre Festival. Deeply passionate about developing human potential through the application of the arts in civil society, Bhatia is also a life skills and a performance facilitator in the corporate, education, and non-profit sectors. He is the director of Jodhpur, Rajasthan International Folk Festival, which is India's leading roots music festival. The faculty, South Asia Festivals Academy, British Council, and the Edinburgh Napier University, International Call-Out Program in Applied Theatre, RCSSD, which is Royal Central School of Speech and Drama in UK. He's a visiting faculty, and in this in Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, which is UK's #1 drama school. He is also the honorary director, International Theatre Town Alliance, U Opera Town in Shenzhen, China, and juror at Aga Khan Music Awards 2022. So we warmly welcome Mr. Divya Bhatia, and thank you, Divya, for really taking out time and coming on to this platform of Community of Practice to interact with us and give us that little de-stressing moment to have fun with you. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Just to kind of add on, today's session is self-awareness through storytelling. So Divya is going to really help us experience how self-awareness is connected to storytelling. And eagerly looking forward, Divya. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you very much. It's not my first association with Adhyayan. I've had many, many years of engaging with not just your team, but also with many of the services that you provided to schools, etc. But what is really interesting for me today is I actually have one of my mother's students who is sitting here, Pramila, who you spoke to earlier. Hi, Pramila.
Hi, Divya.
Yeah, so strange. Huh?
I'm so happy. No, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy.
And of course, I have a friend, a colleague, and a partner in crime who's done many both Adhyayan and non-Adhyayan projects with me, who is Ranjana. Hi, Ranjana. Good to see you too.
Hi, Divya.
Hi. So yes, and hello to everybody else as well. Now, while Jayashree was kind enough to read up, about some accomplishments, etc., in my life, but the real fun that I have and the real joy that I get is being able to share and learn from people like us in a situation where we are right now. So just on the outset, let me say that this is less a teaching or a guiding session. It's more a sharing and learning session. What we are going to be looking at is really understanding what is this thing called storytelling in the context of us being aware of ourselves. Now, I know many of your cameras are off, that's fine. I'm also aware that your microphones are switched off, which is also good. But I just want to reiterate that there is some activity that I will ask you to do. And for that activity, you will be required to write something on a piece of paper, and then you will have to turn on your cameras and show us what you have written. But we'll come to that in a moment. So like Jayashree pointed out earlier, if you don't have paper and pen with you, then while I'm, doing a little bit more of an introduction, you can ensure that you go and get that. Now, there's quite a few of us here. There's 56. So it's going to call upon all of us to be alert, and receptive to what all 56 people have to share. Okay? It may sound more daunting than it actually is, but the most integral part of storytelling and self-awareness is listening. Now, you're all teachers. You'll work with students. You'll work with peers. You'll work in institutions. You know the value of listening. So I'm not going to reiterate that, but this is pretty much the one single most important thing that connects self-awareness and storytelling. But there are two others. There are two others. Now, to begin with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an image. All right? And I would like you all to take your time, look at the image, and then choose any two words that you think best express what you are feeling when you see that image. Now, mind you, I'm not asking you to analyze the image, nor am I asking you to tell me what's going on in the image. What I am asking you to put down is, what do you feel or what do you sense? What do you individually sense or feel when you see that image? All right? Okay. Sorry, for some reason this share did not work. I'm going to try it again. Yes. Now, what I'd like you all to do is allow yourself to enter this image. Take your time. You've got to search your feelings, not your thoughts, your feelings. And willy-nilly, you will find your imagination will begin to work without effort. Notice that. Observe the expressions on both characters' faces. Let the mood suggest something to you. What could be going on? What's the story? But you don't have to tell me the story. What you have to put down on your piece of paper, you have to put down any two emotions that you feel. Anything that you're feeling when you're seeing this. Be honest. You see, the fun thing about storytelling is that it all begins with conversations we have with ourselves. So become aware of the conversation that you're having with yourself. What are you feeling? And put that down on a piece of paper. You have another minute to do so. And once you've been able to put down on paper, please put it down in big letters. So if you have one sheet of paper, you can write two words very large. So when you hold it up to your camera, it's easily visible. All right. I also suggest that to make it easier, you put it down in the chat. Just submit two words in chat. So we'll have lots of words in chat. All right. But we want to do both. We also want to see it on camera. You have another 30, 45 seconds, maybe 45 seconds more. Okay. So now what I'd like you to do is go into gallery view on Zoom. Turn on your cameras and let's see the papers. I hope you've written it in big letters, otherwise it's going to be very hard to read. And please keep it held up. Let's see as many as we can. Could you please turn on your cameras and put up exactly how Mr. Sarang has put it up? Very good. Can I see a few more? You'll have to bring it closer to the camera, Preeti, a little bit. Yeah. Okay. And a little higher if you can hold it up. That's good. Good. Great. Vijay, I think Vaijayanti, I think it's difficult to read. You've done it in regular size. Okay, there are many who haven't done it. That's fine. If you put it in the chat, that's great. So here's what we have to do next now is either scroll through the chat or see what you can see above here. There are some very interesting words that we are seeing. You're going to use the words that strike or resonate with you the most. Apart from your words, you're going to pick any two words. Like Fuldeo has put up support, understood. Nitin has got hope, despair, right? So you have two words. And from the many that people have put up, and they're all on chat now, great, thank you. You can put your papers down. Thank you for putting it up. Now, your task is to open up a little bit, go through these other words that people have put up, not your words, other words, and select two, maybe three words. Two or three words that resonate most with what you feel when you see that image. So I'm going to put up the image again for your reference. All right. Take a few minutes and pick up those words that resonate the most with you, with what you are feeling as you see this image, which are not your words. You have two words. You are going to pick two or three other words from all that have been put up in chat. I think there were many more on chat than there were held up. So go with the chat, take your time. There are many words that sound similar, but actually mean slightly different things. So search your feelings. Don't try and be clever. Search your feelings. All right? There's the image up again for your reference. If that helps, in about 30 seconds, I'm going to pull down the image. Okay, great. Now I'm assuming that you've had a chance to see that image, and we've got some excellent words. I'm going to pick out some which I think are striking for me. The word comfort has come up a number of times, or comforting, as we would say. There's an interesting idea playing among some of you about looking or talking to oneself. Very interesting. Support. I think that's a word, moral support. Ah, surprised. Great. I love that word. Wonderful. Heard. Interesting. We were talking about listening. Ranjana, interesting word, heard. Somebody's heard you. Solace. I am with you. Interesting. Okay, good, very good. So by now you have 2 of your own words and you've picked up 2, 3 other words, either 2 or 3. Don't pick up too many. And I'm now going to show you another image, all right? And I'll tell you what to do in a moment. Okay, so here's the second image for you to see. And you have to do the same now. Check into the image, become part of the image, open yourself up. Imagine as if time had stopped still and you had entered this frame. What would you feel? What's going on? Now, your task is not to figure out what's going on. Your task is once again to search your feelings and check in with what is it that you are feeling when you see this image. And again, you're going to come up with 2 words for the same. Now, mind you, it's not about what is happening in the scene. It's what is happening, what does it make you feel? That's what we are touching upon. You can't do that by distancing yourself from the image. You can only do that by allowing yourself to become one with whatever it is and trust your feeling. Okay, I'm going to leave that image on for another 30 seconds. And we want to see 2 words, like we did earlier, up on the, or as seems to be the preference, to put it on chat. Okay. Let's see that now. Either hold up the 2 words or please put it in the chat. What are you feeling? What do you feel when you see that? Once again, I'm reminding you, it's not about what is going on in the image. It's what you are feeling when you are in there. Very interesting. We're getting some lovely words once again. We've got right the way from intrusion to fear and guilt, apprehension, doubt, worried. Very good. But we've also got gratitude. The longing to listen. Very interesting. I would encourage everyone to make the effort to put down 2 words. The whole purpose of this, Zoom session is to engage. Okay, fine. I think we've got all the words we are going to get. Thank you everyone for putting down the words, those who did. And we now move on to the next step. Now, I would like to hear from some of you as to how this process was for you. What did you go through in your own selves when you moved from looking at the image to actually beginning to put things down? What did you notice in yourself? Yeah, Pramila, you'd like to go first?
I saw Mrs. Bhatia. I'm sorry. I saw her.
Okay, all right.
I could feel the care and the compassion that she had for every student of hers. I could visualize it. I don't know if I would have felt it if it was somebody else doing the show, but since it was Divya, I think I moved on to that domain. Sorry.
Okay, all right. Thanks. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share what it was that they were going through when they were doing this work of looking at the images, going into it, entering the images, and then finding something in their own feeling and then putting that down? Jayashree, do you want to go?
Yeah. So I think for me, it was a little difficult in the beginning because I was tending to just look at what's happening in the image. But then, to again and again remind myself saying, what is it that I'm feeling? So that took a little time, a few minutes for me to really go inside myself. So, yeah.
Yeah. And did others feel that too? Ranjana, what about you?
Yeah, so I echo with Jayashree, I think, because the minute you see the image, you try to, figure out what's happening in the picture. But it takes time to figure out what's happening within you. And for the first image, I think after a minute, maybe, I was remembering all the moment when I wanted to be heard and how I felt, after somebody heard me. So, yeah.
Interesting. Did anybody else would like to share Fuldeo? Yes?
Yes, sir. In the beginning, I too found it difficult to identify, but the moment I looked at their eyes, one was looking at the other, another was putting the eyes downwards, so trying to avoid. So that led me back to my childhood when I made some mistakes, and then my father would always ask, "Why did you do this?" And he would use some of the hard words that would hurt me. So I was reminded of that. So I was feeling guilty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Others, I'd like to hear from others. Kalyani, yes, go for it.
When I looked at the first picture, I could easily connect it to myself, and the way the one person was, putting his hands around the other, that is what we need, especially when we go through misunderstanding, discouragement. We need someone to be at us, and not only with words, but to be present there. And with the second picture, I found it very difficult to connect to myself and to understand what it was exactly. Thank you.
I think both, can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
So I think
go ahead.
Both the pictures have got two individuals.
I think we've lost him.
Yeah, do you want to try again? We lost you there. Okay, we'll wait for him to come back. Would anyone else like to, somebody who has a differing viewpoint maybe, if not the same? Nitin,
I
did
would
you
like
want
to
to say
say,
something?
I would like to say something, sir.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
So it's not that every time it doesn't happen that you are not heard. So if there is someone in 100 people, at least there is someone who is always there to hear you. So after seeing that image, my feeling was that there is someone who is always there to hear you.
Okay. Right.
Can I be heard? Can I be heard?
Yes.
Divya?
Yes, go ahead. Nitin,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, in both the images, there are two individuals. And I think despite the fact that there are two people in there, there was a deep sense of aloneness coming across in the images.
Did you find that in both the images, or were you speaking about?
I found it in both the images. I found a sense of aloneness coming across.
But what is this? It's very interesting what you're saying, Nitin, and I'm also connecting that to what some of the others have said, that initially you were trying to figure out what was going on, or at least some people were trying to figure out what was going on, and it took them some time to actually enter into the image. And now what you're saying, that all the characters, all things had some sense of aloneness. I'm curious to know if there's a way somebody can connect those things. It's very, very pertinent. And I'm very glad you picked that up, Nitin. It's helping us move this forward.
Because see, there is whether there is a need provider and a needy person, or even the second image, there is definitely a separation involved in both the images. I can see a separation there, and hence that separation evokes a sense of aloneness in me. I'm not saying loneliness. I'm using word aloneness.
I think separation is a very good word. And I think what you're also identifying is a gap. There's a gap that exists in these images, because while there are two people in both the images, and obviously there's some communication happening, because we are able to not try and imagine ourselves in their shoes, but we are looking to see what our feeling is. We actually are the third person in that trajectory. Some communication, yes, and some gap. But hold on to this gap. Hold on to this gap. Thank you, Nitin, for that. Is there somebody else would like to add? Nolan. Yeah, found a kind of gloominess. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Would it? Yes, go ahead. Yes.
May I, sir?
Yes, please go ahead.
So the first picture was somewhat like I felt that the person is surprised to know that is it that this is how the world is, and the other one is trying to explain her that yes, this is what it is, and what you have understood out of it is true. And the second image is the person is surprised to know that he is getting help, and what he was thinking of or expecting, he has got help, like say kind of nursing or something, and he's surprised to find out that trust is what can come true. That is what I felt.
Okay, Lakshmi, very interesting. Pramila, your hand is raised.
Yeah. Since we had to say only two words, I didn't say this. In the second figure, the person who was sitting down, I could sense a kind of skepticism, an element of doubt, an element of wanting to discern, but not hearing the truth. I could sense that. You're smiling.
That's very, very perceptive, Pramila, because this is a scene from a play, and that's me 30 years ago.
Ooh.
And the lady in the image is Ratna Pathak Shah, the actress. And it's so interesting you say discern, because it's a story where the brother has come back home to his mother and sister after 20 years wanting to be recognized. And the one moment he gets alone with his sister, that's what he's hoping, that's what he's wondering, that's what he's trying to gauge. Does she recognize me or not? He's trying, and he's sad because that's not happening. But very interesting that you picked up on that. And that tells us something. I'm going to ask Pramila, where did you get that from? Did you look within yourself? From the eyes? Okay, all right. But how did you sense it? I mean, the eyes, there's nothing written on the eyes.
The figure, yeah.
I'm going to open the image again for everyone.
Eyes can speak a lot.
How can I speak a lot? Where are the words? I'm going to show that image again. Everybody, please pay attention. I'm going to pick up on what Nitin was saying. Yeah. And what Pramila has just said. And please tell me, where is this aloneness written? Where is this sense of doubt or discerning written? All those words that you have there, where are they written? All right. Let's look at that image again and see what you see. Look into those eyes. Do you see what Pramila is seeing?
Look at the eyes. The shoulders.
I think there is quite clearly hope and anticipation there.
Yeah. Something,
Okay.
a sense of expectation.
Yeah.
Looking for something, yeah.
Yes, sir. To say this, like for me, it looks like she is trying to communicate something in hesitation, and he's trying to find the meaning of what she's trying to say, and she's trying to figure out her moods and kind of thing.
Okay. Okay. Any other thoughts? Sorry, I have lost my screen. Just give me a moment. Okay. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you all could see the image when I showed it again, right? I wasn't
Right.
able to
Yes.
tell.
Yes, we
Yeah?
could.
All right. So now what we have is a whole series of words that were added on for the second image, which are in your chat. All right. Now I want you to pick up a couple of words from there that resonate with you, with what you're feeling. Now, please understand, we are not trying to decipher what is going on, because interestingly, there are no words written there. Like Pramila said, she saw it in the eyes. There's nothing written in the eyes. Nitin was feeling the sense of loneliness. Nowhere did it say it was lonely. All the words that you have put in, you have created those words, right? But you've got it from where? From, yes, I did give a clue and I said, ask yourself an inner conversation, but you're also using your imagination, right? Okay, let's hold that for a moment. And now pick up another 2-3 words which are not your own. So you have 2 words that you have of your own from the first image. You have 2 or 3 words that others have written on the first image. Then you have 2 words of your own on the second image. All right. And you now have a few words which people have written down on that second image. And please pick 2 or 3 of those which resonate with you the most. Mind you, they shouldn't be the same word that you've already written down. It could be similar, but not the same word. Okay. All right. Now, for the next step in what we're about to do, how many of you are aware of what a haiku is?
It's a poem.
Yeah, Pramila?
It's a poem.
It's a poem. Yes.
Based on syllables.
Based on syllables. Correct. Correct. So for those who don't know, haiku is a kind of poetry that's based purely on a meter which is set to the syllabic value of the words. So for example, and I'm now going to share something with you so you get an idea of what it is. Sorry, just a second. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, what we are seeing is actually a poem which is based on a particular meter. All right. It's a meter. And this meter corresponds to the syllables of each word. Now, what is the meter? The meter is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables. So the choice of words has to be such that it falls into that meter. All right. Can I have somebody read the poem? Who can we ask? Somebody who's not spoken before. Can I ask someone to read out the poem?
Sure, sir.
Okay, go ahead. And try and, you know what a syllable is. So just stress the syllables so we can begin to count the syllables.
So you might want to show the other slide, Divya.
Can you share?
Sorry?
The sliders, yeah.
Sir, please
You're
share
on the first slide, the how to slide.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me just, I see. Sorry, my mistake. No, it's still the same one, right?
Yeah, the how to
Yes, sir.
one.
Sorry, I'm confused. Give me a moment, please. Trying to understand why this is.
You could share your whole screen and then.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Bright, the near full moon. Craters loom like grey flowers. Listen, crickets call. Written by Christopher Cockins.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going
Thank
to
you,
read it slightly differently, and I'm going to count the syllables, and you can count them with me. So the first word is bright. Bright has 1 syllable. Bright. It's not brighter, it's bright, right? So bright is 1 syllable, the is 1 syllable, near is 1, full is 1, and moon is 1. So 5 syllables, bright, the, near, full, moon. And we read the punctuation, it's bright, the near full moon, right? That's 5 syllables in the first line. The second line is craters, that's 2 syllables. Loom, 1 syllable. Like, 1 syllable. Gray, 1 syllable. Flowers, 2 syllables. Craters loom like gray flowers. All right? Listen. Crickets call. Okay? So I'm going to read the whole thing with its meter, with its syllabic weight, and its meaning. Bright, the near full moon. Craters loom like gray flowers. Listen, crickets call. All right? So this is a haiku. How to write a haiku? We just said it, 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, 5 syllables in the last line, right? Now to give you a different example, sorry, I had to expand it with a small image, but I really liked what it was saying. So lying, listening to small rustles all around, waiting to be found. Lying, listening, that's 5 syllables. Lying, listening to small, that's 2 syllables, 2 and small. Rustles, 2 syllables. All, 1 syllable. Around, it's 2 syllables. Waiting, 2 syllables. To be, 2 syllables. Found. All right? So this is haiku. Now you have some words with you. All right. You have at least 10 words by now, or 8 words at least, all of you. And what you're going to do with those words, and you may need to add a few words, is you are going to write a haiku. But the haiku is not just the words. Try and connect it to what you're feeling. The feelings that were evoked when you were watching those images. All right. So write a haiku. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second, and 5 syllables again in the third line. Try it. And whoever's done, just raise your hand, or you can click on that hand raise, or just say you're done. And we'll give a little more time so that the others can try it too. If it's helpful, should I put up either the how-to of haiku, or should I put up one of the poems? What would you like, if it would be of any help? If it's not required, I won't put it up. Take another couple of minutes. So I'm hoping some of the backbenchers in this session will come up with some wonderful haiku. Even in Zoom, we have backbenchers, not just in the classroom. Okay, I'm hoping we already have some haikus ready. So the ones who are done, now please remember, there's no right or wrong in this exercise. Y'all are not going to be graded on this. I am not a teacher, like I said earlier also. It's just about sharing and learning, right? Most important, we want to listen to what other people have to say. Okay, so we have a few dones. I'm very happy about that. Looking forward to get some more dones. Yeah, I mean, if you like, you can put your haiku in the chat, but I'm going to ask people to read it first rather than, because the reading of it involves a listening. And you can't read haiku just like that, otherwise it makes no sense. So I'm going to ask Farhana, who we haven't heard before, to start. Farhana, would you like to read?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here comes the new year. Here comes the new year. 5 syllables. With new hopes of today. 7.
Sorry,
Let's
we lost
begin a
you.
new
Could
day.
you repeat that?
Sorry.
We lost the second and third line. Now, did you use the words that were put up and your own words mostly?
Actually, sir, I'm not getting clearly what you're asking.
So, Farhana, the words that you used, were they the ones, did you make up the words, or did you see the words that were in the chat? Did you use words from the chat?
No, not from the chat. Not from the chat. From chat only we wanted to use.
Yes, that was the purpose of the exercise, but no worries. The haiku was a nice one, very pleasant and warm, and yeah, wishing everyone good joy for the new year. That was great. I'd like somebody else to go now who had their. Let me. Thanks, Farhana. Thank you for that. I'm going to ask. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Pramila, why don't you go with yours?
The light kindles hope, care. Listening builds trust, clears the apprehension. Look ahead with love and respect.
Yeah. Could you repeat that slower, please?
The light kindles hope, care. Listening builds trust, clears the apprehension. Look ahead with love and respect.
I think look ahead with love and respect is many more than 5 syllables, but I think you're getting the hang of it, Pramila. That was
And
good.
can be removed and a comma can be put.
Yeah, very good. Very good. That's it. We have to, the fun thing about haiku is that it gives us gaps to enter. That's the magic of it. So we don't have to close the loop. Okay, Jayashree.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pramila.
Talking and sharing. We are all in together. Compassion and hope.
Talking and sharing. We are all in together.
Compassion and hope.
Compassion and hope. Nice. Nice. Nitin, I'm curious about yours. Sorry, my cat is under my laptop stand. So just give me a second. I have to get rid of the cat. Sorry, just give me a moment. She's scratching me. Anyway, carry on, Nitin. Let her do what
When you
she's
said
doing.
your cat is under your laptop, I was thinking about haikuing that too, but another time.
Nice, very nice. See, now you're becoming exactly that, a self-aware storyteller, where the self and the other are not separate. Fantastic. Great, Nitin. Let's hear yours.
Okay. So distracted was I, for individuals all, and yet all alone.
Ah, great, great. Very nice. Neha, you're listening to this. Are you participating? No. What are you hearing? I'm curious.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing just amazing stuff, frankly. And that's forced me to be here.
Yeah, so you've got to look at the chat. There are some very interesting ones.
saw,
I'm going to.
Yes.
You've seen that, yeah. So Nitin, just read yours once again, please.
Say hi.
Yeah, Nitin, could we have yours again, please? Read it out once again, please.
I was also taking the opportunity to say hi to Neha.
Ah, good, good, good. Yes, we are happy Neha is here.
Okay. Distracted was I, for individuals all, and yet all alone.
Very nice, very nice. I'm going to ask Preeti to read hers. Preeti, you have it up on the chat, but it'd be great to hear it in your own voice.
Okay, I'll read it out. Sad, the heart cries, hope in the gleaming eyes, we will sail past through.
Thank you. Very nice. Shrikala, can we hear yours? It's on the chat. I'd like to hear it in your own voice.
All is lost, I thought. The hand around me, I felt. Hope beats in my heart.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Mandira, can we hear yours as well in your own words? Are you there, Mandira? Okay, we'll ask Fuldeo. Why don't you read yours?
Yes. Support, understanding. I felt when scared in life. Hopeful it made. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Anuradha, will you read yours?
Yes, sir. We need love and care. We need comfort and respect. These are human needs.
Okay, good. Mandira, you say your mic is not working, so I'll read out yours. Present and future. Sad, surprised, happy, emotions, we all can sail through. Okay, good. Annette? Oh, sorry, Annette, I thought you also read one. It says, all please use the reaction button. Yes, I'm sure people are appreciative. I think just generally we can appreciate all the ones who read theirs. Now, that's great. Well done, everyone. Are there any others that people would like to read, which I have missed? I think we've got all the ones which are in the chat. Nobody else? Okay.
I observed something. Can I say that?
Just in a moment. There's Geeta who's just put up something. Geeta, can you read yours, please?
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you for giving a chance. Sir, my haiku is eyes that express. Sir, once again, I would like to read it. Eyes that express loving and compassionate, full with eyes that are catchy.
Well, it's very nice, but your second line is more than 7 syllables if we were to follow the haiku. So
Yes,
loving
okay.
is 2 syllables, N is 1 syllable, that's already 3 syllables. Compassionate is 4 syllables, so that's 4 and 3, 7 already, full with. So if you drop full with.
Yes, sir.
Then it
Sure, sir.
reads wonderfully. Eyes that express loving and compassionate, eyes that are catchy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Preeti, sing Life of Joy. We just have 3 syllables there.
Yeah, I had written life of joy, life of sadness, waste not dear, in frivolous things.
Okay, but you're not writing haiku, you were doing your own poetry.
Yeah,
which is
I was
interesting.
just in the process.
Of putting it together. Well, carry on. Pramila, you wanted to say something earlier.
I observed that it's ending on a positive note. Everybody has done that. That was something which was interesting. Except for that.
Except Nitin.
Yes.
Yeah. So
let me undo that.
No, don't undo it.
Let me buy another haiku.
Okay, if you have another one, let's hear it.
Cat on a laptop. That qualifies for 5 syllables, right? Cat on a laptop. Curiosity be damned. I'd rather be dead.
Great. You know, that phrase, curiosity killed the cat, has been going on all day because this cat today has been all over the place. And, you know, whatever you do, she's in it. You know, I got a new laptop stand, so there's a gap under it. So she's been under it this entire time trying to play with me and scratch me. And but yeah, so thank you for that. But here's my question to everybody. What is the connection between self-awareness and storytelling? You all just went through a whole exercise right now. What's the connection?
Sorry, I didn't catch your question. Between self-awareness and
storytelling.
Okay.
What's the link? All of you have partaken of a particular exercise. No story was told to you. knowing oneself. Farhana, can you elaborate, please? Can you share that?
So to know
What-
more about our own capabilities, own abilities with the help of stories, with the help of like a group of words which we can explain others.
Okay. All right. Somebody else had something on the chat. Ragini, you had something on chat. Feeling and expression. What did you mean?
It's about you express through a story. It's merely your feeling. Once you start feeling about it, the expression changes. So your feeling is what controlling your expression.
So you said feeling is what's controlling the expression. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. Your feeling controls your expression when you are reading a story or telling a story.
Okay. But how is that connected to self-awareness? What is interesting about that when it comes to
your tone
self-awareness?
changes according to your feeling and you try to express yourself through your story.
Okay. Okay. Understand. Preeti, you've said becoming aware of feelings and express. Could you elaborate on that? And then we'll have Ranjana.
Yeah, when you had shared that picture, and when you see, first you try to find something in that picture, then you connect that picture to yourself, and then there is a connect between that what you are seeing and between that what is within, outside and inside, and you express that. I mean, it is like giving outlet to your own feelings. That picture was a stimuli, and helps you to express something within you, which might be you were aware, which might be you were not aware.
Interesting, Preeti. Ranjana.
Yeah, I feel once you become the character of that story, and maybe you connect your life and your feeling and your thoughts and maybe your events of life, with that story, the storyteller becomes, more impactful and can get connected to the audience more better. I feel.
Good. Yes. Pramila.
We have our own feelings which are based on perceptions and the meaning that we attach to it. And the meaning comes from our experiences. And it can lead to positive feelings, it can lead to negative feelings, it can give rise to biases. Everything is based on that. So, and we relate ourselves, we look at a situation keeping all these things in perspective. So that kind of colors the story. What looks to me as something gory and negative may not look the same to another person.
Right. Very true. Very true. Shrikala says, we relate to stories and they evoke emotions and we are one with that story. I think what Pramila is using, the stress is on the we. It's subjective, right, Pramila? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
But how does that connect to self-awareness? So what's the link between that and self-awareness?
I need to reflect.
Okay.
I need to introspect.
Okay. Good.
And that is what leads to moving away from what is not right and moving away to what is acceptable, what is more comfortable, what is more meaningful, what gives me happiness.
Okay.
For instance, albatross flies by itself. It is lonely. Or is it alone?
Okay.
It is alone. It's not lonely.
Yeah, it may not be lonely, but let me go to Fuldeo. Fuldeo says, storytelling connects us with the human emotions. Now that's what storytelling does, but what's the relationship with self-awareness in this context of the exercise that we did today?
So I think there is an inevitability to storytelling and self-awareness. If you listen to a story or read a story with attention, you're going to enter a story, and it is going to be an interactive exercise. So it is not possible that it will not lead to some kind of self-awareness, that the story will end up telling you something about yourself.
Okay. Is that what Fuldeo meant by saying that storytelling connects us with human emotions? Is that what you meant?
Okay, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I have written storytelling connects us with the human emotions. As human beings, all of us are emotional beings, as one of the scholars also has said. So let's say I'm the storyteller. Let's say I have students or the public to whom I am telling. But the moment I start telling, I have already experienced in my life. Many experiences are there, many emotions I have experienced. But the moment I start telling the stories, that will automatically lead me either to look at my life, my past days. That is one. Secondly, I may also infer some of the meanings from some events of the story, and that will also help maybe those listeners. So they will be automatically either led to positive experiences or to negative experiences. Am I clear?
Yes, that's very
Okay,
clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
It actually connects differently to what Nitin just said, and Nitin also is very articulate. But I'm going to Lalita now. Lalita, you put down mindfulness and fully present. What did you mean?
Sir,
Yes.
on a day we think about 60 thoughts, but during the storytelling, we are fully present and we just tell whatever we think, and we are not thinking about any other thing. It is fully focused on that particular story. So it is like meditation. Like whatever we do with full awareness, it is like meditation. Like if I'm cooking with full awareness, it is like a meditation. I need not do a meditation separately. So whatever work we are doing, so like for example, I'm listening to you now. So it is a kind of meditation. Like I'm fully present and aware of this thing. I'm not thinking any other thing. So like that in storytelling, the person is fully focused on delivering and delivering whatever he wants to convey. So in that way, I think like it is mindfulness and presence of mind.
Okay.
You're not thinking anything else.
Okay, I understand that. So what you're saying is that the nature of what storytelling is sort of makes one or allows one to be mindful and be present. But Anuradha has something interesting as well. Anuradha, why don't you elaborate on what you've written down?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I mean to say that everybody knows themselves better than someone else. So even if you tell that you are good or you feel this, you feel that, nobody is going to believe you. You know yourself better. And I think storytelling is one way that you can express your feelings, what you feel about others. And I think you can make them understand in a better way. That is my feeling about how it is related to self-awareness and storytelling.
Okay. Yes, sure, Geeta. Go ahead.
Yes. Sir, your question was like whether storytelling is related to the human emotion. So I think yes, storytelling is definitely connected with the human emotion, feeling, thought, compassion, empathy. For example, let me give if we are listening a story on hare and the tortoise, and a race happens in between both of them, and ultimately towards the end of the story, one of them wins, and then it touch our heart. This story, people used to say earlier also, a long time ago, people used to say this story to their grandchildren. Even today, grandparents give this story to their grandchildren. And the emotion, the feeling, the touch which children are getting out of it seems to be same. seems to be same as it was ever before. So
Okay.
any story which we give to student, let us consider for student. Okay, if we give any of the story to children or students in our class, it is of course related to one or the other sort of our feeling or the emotions. And as it's a part of literature, story is a part of literature, and literature is nothing but the what actually happens in human's life.
Okay.
So it is like ultimately connected with the values, ideals, morals, human compassion, emotions.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Geeta. I think my question was really more about self-awareness rather than emotions. But I think the point that we are touching upon, and we're not really making the full point, is that, but before that is, how many of you share anecdotes with friends? How many of you will tell this happened to you or this happened to someone you know, etc.? These are anecdotes, right? We share anecdotes amongst people. Why do you share anecdotes? What does that do for you? And what does it do in a company? You meet somebody and you share an anecdote. We all know what an anecdote is, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
These are, may I say, sir?
Yeah.
Your first question was about self-awareness and storytelling. Self-awareness is one, you are aware of your own feelings and experiences, and self-awareness is also about the audience whom you are going to narrate the story to. So we have both in mind, and whichever story is being told, right, in that the way you express that your own experience is directly or indirectly conveyed to the audience, whether it is the child or whether it is a grown-up, because the way you will speak and the kind of words you will use is going to create a kind of thought in the person who is listening, and even in you when you express the story. So that is one very important thing, and that is how self-awareness and the storytelling gets connected. And second thing that you're saying, anecdotes, I have a little daughter and son too, and at times I share my childhood with her and many good experiences, like once the bridge had broken and we used to travel by boat and this and that, and she enjoys it a lot. So anecdotes is like there are some fun filled, and it is a dangerous thing also that actually I'm talking to her that I used to travel to school and I was traveling by boat during those times when it was flooded, and I was more present in the school when it was flooded because I wanted to travel by the boat. On other days maybe I won't be traveling otherwise or be absent. So anecdote is like,
but if I can interrupt, doesn't your daughter also tell you stories? Doesn't she tell you anecdotes?
Yes.
Not in full story format, but she tells you things, right?
Yes, she
in
can.
very short, she'll tell you 3 lines of something and she's communicated it, right?
Yes, yes.
That's an anecdote. But
Yeah.
what's the key part over here? The key part over here is that this is a self story. It's self-storytelling. This is storytelling about the self.
Ourselves, yes. And
right.
Experience she has, she also narrates day to day.
Yes. And long before we learned how to tell stories, we were self-storytelling.
Yes, exactly.
And all of us were self-storytelling before we actually learned how to tell stories. All right. So we actually knew how to tell the stories, but the stories that we told were our stories.
Yes.
And it's only possible to tell self stories if you're aware of what's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So self stories are possible because we are aware and we are curious. I know curiosity and the cat, Nitin, but it's very key to the whole aspect of storytelling is curiosity. Curiosity is what's going on, what's going to happen next. Any movie or any story that we enjoy, it's because we want to know what is going to happen next. We want to know abhi kya hoga, right? So curiosity is very key to all storytelling, but self-storytelling involves listening to ourselves, right? And having a curiosity about ourselves. when we are curious about ourselves, we don't have the full picture, and yet we give anecdotes. Our children tell things to us which is not the full picture, right? It's the beginnings of their storytelling. It's self-storytelling, but it only comes because something has emerged, something has struck them, some awareness, they have woken. All right?
Yes, sir.
So the key thing that I want to get across in this session is really the idea that if we are curious about ourselves, we listen to ourselves, and we share our anecdotes in a relaxed manner, not in an intense, in a concerned, or in a gossipy manner. Gossip is infantile creativity. This is how little people exercise their creativity, through gossip, though that's also a form of storytelling.
Yes.
But self-storytelling, if we become good at self-storytelling, right, then we can become wonderful storytellers. But at the same time, if we are already in the process of becoming self-aware, then we are much better story listeners. If we are not self-aware, we are not very good listeners. Deep listeners, that is. All right? So anyway, this is the nutshell of what I wanted to get across. Lakshmi, you were on the absolute right track. All of you who shared things were on the right track. Neha is mentioned visualization. Visualization is the imagination. Without self-awareness, there is no imagination. If you look back to what we did today, I didn't give you words. You came up with the words. You felt something, you gave it a name, you imagined it. All right. Now, this is ideally a day-long session in person, but I just wanted to give you a taster of something that we all actually undergo through our lives day in and day out, but we don't pay attention to it. We don't give it that much importance. Now, Varsha, you have your hand up, and Lalita, you have your hand up. So let's go with Varsha first. Varsha?
Thank you, sir. Can I speak in Marathi?
Sure, absolutely. I understand it. I'm not. My mother grew up in a chawl in Girgaon, so yes.
Okay, thank you,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Thank you. सर तुम्ही सेल्फ अवेअरनेस म्हणालात. जेव्हा आपण एखादी गोष्ट
हो.
सांगतो, समजा जर महात्मा गांधींची गोष्ट मला मुलांना सांगायची आहे, मग महात्मा गांधी सेल्फ अवेअरनेस म्हणजे माझी स्वतःची मतं मी त्या गोष्टीमध्ये नाही सांगायची आहेत. जे महात्मा गांधी आहेत, माझे जे विचार आहेत ते मुलांपर्यंत नाही पोचवायचे, पण ऍक्च्युली त्यांचे जे काही विचार असतील, ही गोष्ट मला म्हणजे स्थितप्रज्ञ ज्याला म्हणतो, की नाही आहे तशी ही गोष्ट मला मुलांपर्यंत पोहोचवायची. म्हणजे त्याच्यासाठी सुद्धा सेल्फ अवेअरनेस असणं फार महत्वाचं आहे, की मला एखादी खूप राजा हा आवडतो म्हणून मी त्याला ग्लोरीफाय करून सांगेल, आणि ह्या XYZ बद्दल मला थोडंसं नाही आवडत म्हणून मी त्याची जे काही माझा पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यू मी मुलांपर्यंत नाही पोहोचवला पाहिजे. जे खरं खरं आहे म्हणजे ते म्हणजे स्टोरी म्हणजे जो गोष्ट सांगणाऱ्याचं ते खरं खूप तारेवरची कसरत म्हणा किंवा खूप अवघड काम असतं, की जे आपले स्वतःचे मत आहेत ते मुलांपर्यंत नाही पोहोचवायचे. तर ते खरं खरं आहे, बाबांनो हे असं असं आहे, मग त्यांनी तो विचार करायचा आहे की हा बाबा काय, असं मला वाटतं. म्हणजे त्या दृष्टीने सुद्धा सेल्फ अवेअरनेस महत्वाचा आहे.
And is it possible to avoid what you're saying? Can you keep yourself away? Is it possible? Whenever you are telling a story to somebody, you have to.
अशा वेळेस म्हणजे जेव्हा एखादी मोठी व्यक्ती वगैरे असेल तर त्यांच्याविषयी गोष्ट सांगताना थोडस आपल्याला ते भान ठेवणं गरजेचं असतं. आणि इन जनरल जेव्हा आपण गोष्ट सांगतो किंवा मूल्यांच्या गोष्टी सांगतो तेव्हा आपण रंगून रंगून म्हणा किंवा नाही मला हे खरं बोललं पाहिजे, ही गोष्ट जर मला सांगायची तर मी ती रंगून सांगेल. पण जेव्हा आपण म्हणजे मला काय म्हणायचं ते तुम्हाला समजतंय ना सर, की मोठ्या व्यक्तींबद्दल आपण असं माझं स्वतःचं जे काही मत आहे ते मी नाही सांगितलं पाहिजे किंवा माझा जो पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यू
but even Mahatma Gandhi was a man. He became great afterwards, right?
Yes.
We made him great. He didn't make himself great. He was an everyday man living everyday lives, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So when we are storytelling, We have to be clear कि yes, you know, there is something जो पुराने जमाने में होता था, praise poetry कहते थे उसको, ठीक है, जहाँ पर जो कलाकार होता था जजमान के लिए वो बहुत वाह 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 बोलता था, ते आपलं कार्य नाही. That's not our job as storytellers to praise people. So we have to make it human. We have to make it human. But you will only be able to make it human if you yourself are self-aware.
Yes, sir. बरोबर आहे.
Correct. It's difficult. And sorry, I'm not speaking Marathi. I understand it perfectly, but I don't have the practice.
Yes,
पण मी मला कळलं तुम्ही काय सांगण्याची मतलब
थँक्यू सर.
काय सांगतात.
काय सांगतात. ओके बरं.
थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू सर.
ललिता.
Sir, according to Patanjali Yoga Sutras, human beings learn by two ways. One is by like self-experience, and the other by like experience of others. So anecdote is a kind of like, you know, like when we learn from others, like story, like if we are going in a car in high speed, there are chances of accident. For that, one need not experience and then be aware. So in that case, we take the examples like anecdote, like from listening from others' failure. From there, we get the information. So I just wanted to share that about anecdotes, how it can help in learning. Like we can use anecdote more in the way of storytelling, so that we can change.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. But the logic of anecdote is emerging from self-awareness. You can't come up with you might listen to somebody else's story, but how are they coming up with the story? They are coming up with the story because they are curious about their lives and they want to either they want to make sense of it or they want to share it. Okay? So there's no escaping the fact that if you are interested in storytelling, whether as a listener or as a teller, it's important that you're a self-storyteller. Pramila will, be testimonial to this. My mother, who's no more, my mother was a master self-storyteller, wasn't she, Pramila?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, she was able to draw people in. It was always, now she wasn't talking about her life, but she was trying to connect through her life with your life. And there was a power to it. There was a power to it, which people like Pramila will better understand than I do. But in a nutshell, the point of all of this, and I'm going to hand over to Jayashree now in just a moment, is that it's up to us as individuals, as people who have equal lives. We all are alive. It's up to us as individuals to be truthful and curious about our lives. If we are truthful and curious about our lives, and like somebody, Neha said, visualize, we can imagine things, we can imagine a future, we can imagine a change, we can imagine something else than what is right now. This combination is very powerful. And it's what makes really good storytellers and story listeners. So with that, I'd like to, Preeti said something, learning from Shruti. I've just seen that. So Preeti, if you want to share a little bit on that. Otherwise, thank you very much. I'm not sure if you enjoyed this or not. I kept feeling that I was doing most of the talking, but I'll hand over to Jayashree.
It was a delightful session.
Preeti, you have something to say?
Yes, I was just saying that sometimes we learn imparting knowledge by speaking. So you need good communication skills, you need good imagination to weave stories which interest and others are able to connect to. So that is what I was saying.
Yeah, thank you. And well, Divya, so I think you said that probably you did all the talking. I don't really agree, but I think even if it looked like we talked a little less for you, but I think we did all the thinking. I think you really made us think, and think about ourselves. So the questions that constantly came to me during the session was, what is a story that I tell about myself to myself? You know, so how do I describe myself? What do I think I am? You know, and these were some questions that kept coming to me. What are some of my beliefs? What are some of my strengths and shortcomings that I think that I have? You know, am I telling a story to myself? And so it's really important to really kind of take out that time for, as somebody said, to do a lot of self-introspection, to become self-aware. I think that's what it is. And as educators, I think it's extremely important that we all become really self-aware individuals if we have to really, spend time with students, with kids. So the first step to be a good teacher is to become a self-aware individual. I think that is what I'm taking away from today's session. And thank you so much. It was extremely delightful session for me. And I would request if somebody else wants to say something, or if Neha is there. Neha, do you want to say something? We didn't hear you, Neha, at all. And thank you to Annette and Gauri for helping us from the back end, at the back end. And without you, as usual, these sessions will be really very difficult to conduct. Yeah, Neha?
Yeah, thanks, Jayashree. I think it's been a very long association with Divya, and I would say that it's very difficult to not attend a session.
Yeah,
I agree that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Right. So, and I think we have the fact that a lot of us here have stayed on till the almost, till about 10 to 15 minutes for the session. In fact, I got some messages saying that, sorry, we have to leave because of some commitment, but wonderful session. So, Divya, it was really a very good session. And thank you very much. You can see all the thank yous coming in the chat. Yeah. So watch out for some more sessions on Teachers Have a Life series. And you can reach out to us, to Divya, for any further support with regards to storytelling.
Yeah, thanks. And if I can just, not to take the last word, but just to acknowledge Pramila, who is a superb educationist. And also I got to know Pramila because of my mother. Pramila was my mother's student. And, I've known Pramila for years, but, this is the first time, Pramila, I think that we're actually sitting face to face for over an hour. But yes, and I just want to say that I feel very, very nice that you are here with me.
Your mom would have been proud of you today. I can't forget her. She's been my mentor.
Super. And Pramila has written a book, Divya. You're very right about being a fantastic educator. She's written a book. She's done a session here on the Adhyayan community of practice where she's kind of written a guide for teachers, It's like you read that book and you'll be able to come up with loads of strategies and aiming at good planning and good lessons in the class. So
yes, I remember.
That's what a young Pramila is all about.
Yeah. I think she mentioned my mother in there somewhere, didn't you, Pramila? Either in that book or in some article that you wrote or something.
I wrote about her on Facebook.
You wrote about.
Yeah, on Facebook, yes.
Yeah. But anyway, Pramila's book, yes, I've had a glance at it. I haven't read it, but hey, I'm not a teacher. So, it's my cop out. It's my getaway. Both my parents were teachers. The one way in which I can say, sorry, I'm not a teacher. But yeah, thank you for having me here, and thank you for patiently listening to what I had to offer. Yeah. And long association with Adhyayan. And I think Adhyayan does superb work. I think Adhyayan is probably the only agency I know that takes this much interest in the well-being of teachers. I don't think anybody else does. And not new. This is something that I've noticed for a very, very long time. So kudos to the Adhyayan team for doing sessions like these. I was telling Jayashree, you're spoiling teachers by doing all of this. Anyway, it was nice for me to do this, and I really hope your other sessions are good and you all have a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for
See you soon.
coming. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. And watch out for our next poster. We will let you know what is the next session on this part in the series. Yeah. Thank you.